to the play. Notre Dame certainly is capable of winning this game, but it's going to have a huge game from its goalkeeper.
Huge game from LaKeysia Beene. She's been fantastic for them in this tournament, and she came up so big for them against Santa Clara in the first game. They come in underdogs, and she comes up solid all game, reading the play so well, off her line quick, always solving a ball through the middle of the field. And here you're going to see Heather Aldama from Santa Clara sending a great ball across the middle. LaKeysia there to knock it outside of the goal mouth. And she has quick reflexes. She's fast off her line. She anticipates. She reads the game so well. She's a senior for them, so she provides great leadership.
Well, she's going to have to go out in a blaze of glory for the Irish to win this one. Everyone knows the great soccer heritage that North Carolina has. 40% of that World Cup team that you were on that won the World Championship this past summer was from North Carolina. The latest talent to make the headlines is Susan Bush.
Susan Bush, the youngest player to train with us with the women's national team, a freshman here at North Carolina, and just having an unbelievable season, and hasn't been healthy all year. She loves to take on players. Here we see her beating two Penn State defenders to get the assist for North Carolina's first goal against Penn State. And she's a face-up take-on player. She's fast. She's explosive. She'll go at defenders. She gives their front line a lot of confidence as a freshman and only 75% healthy.
What kind of a game should we see today? Well, these two teams did meet during the regular season. It went to overtime. North Carolina fully extended, won that one 3-2. We'll be back in a flash. Hi, I'm the match, Julie.
Notre Dame doesn't have the team speed of Carolina, so when they come forward, they need to get numbers forward. They're not the type of take-on team that Carolina is, and they also had such a wonderful game in the back against Santa Clara. That was really the key to their victory. They need to stay organized against a very mobile front line of North Carolina. On the other side, with North Carolina, they need to use their outside midfielders for width. Notre Dame plays with pinched-in central midfielders, so they need to use the outside midfielders for width on this small field and keep that mentality of take on 1v1, go at those players.
2 45-minute halves. There will be a timeout about midway through each half. If the game is tied at the end of regulation, 4 15-minute sudden death overtime periods, and then penalty kicks if necessary. North Carolina wearing the white, attacking left to right. And Notre Dame for only the 4th time in its soccer history wearing the lucky green, and Julie will explain that a little bit later on as we get into the match. Foul right away called by the referee, Mike Balson.
The tradition of the green uniforms is huge for these Notre Dame players. Kate Sobrero, one of the alumni who plays on the national team, gave me the scoop. She said that they've only pulled them out 3 times. This is the 4th game in their 12-year history, and they're 3-0 as it stands.
The 3rd time they pulled them out was in the semifinals against #1 Santa Clara, which was playing, in essence, a home game. Santa Clara's campus just a few miles away from Spartan Stadium. And Notre Dame, even though it was outshot in that game 17-3, came up with the only goal and won it. Here's Jen Branham's goal kick. She had an assist for Carolina in the semis, so she'll get it up the field.
It gives you a good indication of her range. Not many goalkeepers getting assists out there.
Meredith Florance can't chase it down in the corner. It'll be a goal kick coming LaKeysia Beene's way. Now, the systems of play. What should we look for from Notre Dame?
Well, Notre Dame plays a 4-3-3, and that means 4 in the back, 3 in the midfield, and 3 up top. They play pinched-in 3 midfielders, and so they really have no outside midfielders. On the contrary, North Carolina plays a 3-back, 4 midfield, 3 forward system, and so they play two totally different systems. And UNC will need to find those outside midfielders because that's where the space is. That's where they need to get the ball quickly to them and try and penetrate on the outside of midfield.
One of the hallmarks of Carolina soccer over the years has been the great development of attacking soccer. The way Carolina feeds the attack. This kind of movement of the ball right here. We're going to look for this all day long from the Tar Heel. Attempt to get it up the wing for Florance. She didn't anticipate the pass, and again, it goes over the end line.
And always in these first few minutes, Jack, they're trying to settle things down. Notre Dame coming in with a very experienced team of seniors, but on the other hand, you have North Carolina with such a great history and such a great tradition. You bring that into a game where you know you've been here so many times before, and it's how can you settle the nerves down, and what kind of confidence can you gain from both programs' histories?
On the run, it's Jenna Klugel in midfield. Klugel would pass out onto the wing for Ann Ramey, who had the goal early for North Carolina in its 2-0 semifinal win. The field only 66 yards wide here at Spartan Stadium. Very narrow by soccer standards, but the players adjust to it very quickly. Pass into the middle, cleared out of there, and Notre Dame counterpunch. watching all 11 players in the back half of the field right now for the Fighting Irish. This is what most of this game should be like. Notre Dame looking for a counterattack, coming off of a North Carolina rush and then trying to strike through. Here's Jenny Heft with just a half a step offside. Looked as if she might sneak past the offside trap. Heft, a prolific goal scorer for Notre Dame.
A great run by Jenny Heft. She tries to cut it sideways. She's running laterally to try and stay on sides and just not timing it perfectly. But one of the great things you're going to see here with Notre Dame is they're playing even with their forwards, meaning North Carolina is only playing 3 defenders.
There's Florance with a run left side, trying to work against Kara Brown. And we're going to get Notre Dame resetting.
There's not many teams in soccer history who will play even in the back, Jack, and Anson has the confidence to say, we're going to stay with my 3 back line against 3 Notre Dame forwards. I'm going to play even. I have the confidence to do that. And when you have, you know, goal scorers like Jenny Streiffer on Notre Dame with 19 goals this year, over 70 in her college career. Jenny Heft, the all-time leading scorer for Notre Dame with 80 goals. And that spells confidence. You're not going to play with any numbers advantage in the back. And we'll see how it works out for them today.
Carolina trying to play a 1-2 ball through midfield. It comes off of Jen Grubb, number 6 in green. Grubb said this morning that she didn't sleep well at all last night. Her eyes popped open. Saw 6 a.m. on the clock. She said, good enough. This is a noontime Pacific time game, and she said she was ready to play at 7 o'clock in the morning and wished it could have started then. Lorrie Fair, number 14 in white, back to collect it for North Carolina and send it back to Branham.
Why does that never happen to me? The 6 a.m. wake-up calls. I never have that happen to me on big games.
Here's Charlotte Mitchell, a senior, getting the honorary start here today. Mitchell hasn't seen that many minutes this year, but Anson Dorrance honors his seniors. It's not as if this is garbage time. National championships at stake, and it's 0-0 right here, and Mitchell knows her minutes are going to be few today, so she's running really hard up front. Borgman collects for Notre Dame, back to Branham. A little bit of a pop-up, but Branham still gets it up near midfield. A lot of power in that leg. Jenny Streiffer settles a little flick on for Heft. And again, Notre Dame offside. You have to be even with the next to last defender back to the goal line when the ball is played. In other words, count the goalie plus 1 defender. You have to be even with that player when the ball is passed in order to be onside for play to continue.
Even is on. They like to give the forward that advantage, obviously to encourage goal scoring. I hope my dad is listening to that, so he won't ask me about the offsides rule. You explain that very well, Jack. Every week. Honey, explain that offsides thing again.
Well, eventually we're going to get that yellow ESPN first down line that you see on Sunday night NFL games, and it'll be tracking that next to last defender back, so it'll be easier to see. That technology exists now. It's just a matter of time before somebody eventually works it into a soccer telecast. A through ball attempted. Look how far Branham is out, 23 yards from her goal line and outside the penalty area. Of course, if you're unfamiliar with the rules of soccer, the goalie cannot touch the ball outside that square that she was about to enter.
And you can see Notre Dame trying to go with that flat back 3 of North Carolina. They're even, like I said before. And the most important thing for Carolina is that they have Jenny Branham, their keeper, playing off her line. She needs to be a second sweeper for them. She says she actually enjoys that flat back 3 because it allows her to be more aggressive. She likes to play with her feet. She's very comfortable with the ball at her feet. And you can see how important that is to them in the back, because without that keeper giving you an option offensively and especially helping you out defensively by being aggressive off her line, it really hinders your flat back 3.
You see how close the sidelines are here in the stadium wall. Vanessa Krasinski, a freshman, on the back 4 for Notre Dame with the throw-in. And again, it comes out of bounds. This back 4 for Notre Dame, Kara Brown, Kelly Lindsay, Jen Grubb, and Vanessa Krasinski, awesome in the semifinal game against Santa Clara.
Yeah, and when you talk to their coach, Randy Waldron, he said that was the difference between the 2 games against Santa Clara this year. The first one, of course, they lost 4-2, 4 goals being scored on them in the first 9 minutes, and so he said the back line was their difference. They switched to a new system this year. They went from a 3-4-3 last year to a 4-3-3 this year with Randy Waldron coming in as the first-year coach. And it took a bit of an adjustment, but they've really got it down now because they're confident in the back. They have a lot of experience back there, and it really shows.
Kim Patrick is into the game for North Carolina for Charlotte Mitchell, the senior who got the honorary start. Patrick is an aggressive front runner, and only a freshman, she has made her presence known, not only with clutch goals, but consistent performance. Often you see freshman performance drop off in mid-season. Players not used to the pace and the length of a college season, but Patrick right there attempting to get the ball back for North Carolina has done a great job.
She's had an incredible season, and she admits it herself. She never had any idea she would have this great of a season. And Anson talks about the goals she scores just being highlight reel goals. You know, wonderful from all over the box and a lot of different services. So she's been a great addition to this team this year for North Carolina. You can see one of the changes they had to make with Notre Dame is Anna Makinen is playing a forward for Notre Dame in this game, and she usually starts in the midfield, and Streiffer will start up top. But Makinen is nursing a knee injury right now, and they wanted to limit her running. And we know forwards don't run very much. Sorry, Mia.
Long shot from the outside by Beth Shepard, easily handled by LaKeysia Beene. Those two players that we'll keep an eye on for Notre Dame, number 8, Makinen in green up front, and number 12, Streiffer, who is a high-scoring forward today, shifted back into the midfield, a position she's not used to. Contact, and Raven McDonald goes down for North Carolina, so the Tar Heels will push it up again and restart.
There's a good look at Anna Makinen. She's got a knee brace on. She strained her meniscus. She needs to have some surgery done on it, I think, in the Nebraska game, their last game. Sorry, their game before the semifinals, and she's just been having terrible swelling.
Lorrie Fair, a 1-on-2, but distributes to the sideline. Klugel bringing it up now. Meredith Florance looking for something in the middle. Back come the Irish. Meredith Erickson lobbing it up. Makinen getting ahead on it. Here comes Heft with a little bit of speed, but Lindsay Stacker, number 16 in white, heading it back to Branham. Stacker doesn't get the ball a lot, but she almost always does exactly the right thing when she gets it.
And she's not the fastest player on this North Carolina team by any means, but she anticipates the game so well. She reads it. She makes great early decisions. It's very technical on the ball and provides a lot of confidence in the back of their line.
Fair and Klugel run into one another, and Fair just flicks it out of bounds. Well, the Tar Heels have a lot of experience, and they have a lot of poise, but they're still burning off some adrenaline about 10 minutes into the national championship game. Along with national team player Julie Foudy, I'm Jack Edwards. Glad you could be with us for ESPN's live coverage of the Women's College Cup. Branham was a forward in high school, and she looks pretty comfortable out there in the field, although she mishits that ball out of bounds. She's all business. She's got that expression on her face of just don't bug me, I got a game to play.
The Brianna Sperry look.
You want that from your goalkeeper. She's reading the game even when the ball's 70 yards away from her, seeing the attack develop in front of her. This is McDonald working with Boardman, number 30. McDonald chasing it for the corner, and she can't quite track it down.
A good example of Raven McDonald on the outside of midfield for Carolina. Good look at her there. She's going to be wide open all day with the system that Notre Dame plays, and they need to get the ball early to her. That's going to be key. They need to get the ball early, and she needs to have the confidence to go at those Notre Dame defenders and create some numbers up and attack.
Makinen not able to handle it cleanly. Now Patrick trying to turn it into the middle. Florance cut off. Carol Brown, the top assister for Notre Dame, also making a fine defensive play.
And this is just a great run. Kim Patrick seeing this run. Carol Brown getting good defensive position, staying goal side, able to intercept that ball.
A little pop-up near the end line. Headed up and out, and it comes off the Carolina player, so it'll be a Notre Dame throw. See, Brzezinski doesn't have a lot of running room there. They originally lined the field even wider than it is lined here, but then they had to put green paint over the white. 3 players go down like bowling pins. Brown now collects the crossfield pass, working against Janet Krieger. That's the kind of defensive pressure that North Carolina has, Julie. How difficult is it when you're bringing the ball up from your defensive third and you have somebody smack on top of you?
And that's one thing Anson talked to me about last night. He said he will literally push up his outside midfielder to make a forefront defensively. So they're playing with 3 forwards already on defense, and he wants to create even more chaos for the 4 backs of Notre Dame. So he'll push a midfielder up, and he's not afraid to do that. So he has 4 people up top defending, and he wants it to be disruptive. He plays a very disruptive style defense. They're always high pressuring. It's not always the most organized, so if you have a team that can solve that, they usually can create great problems, but not many teams can solve that high pressure defense.
Long ball up ahead for Ann Ramey. Ramey, Brown again, runs her off and fires it out of bounds.
One of the traits that has always been such a great character trait of North Carolina is they have forwards that work on both sides of the ball, meaning offensively and defensively. They love to work hard, and you'll see a lot of substitutions from the front line because they try and keep them fresh because they want to apply constant pressure on Notre Dame's back 4.
Well, you may be bread and butter as a player who has sprung attacks from that defensive third. Is it a matter of you just have to think ahead before you get the ball?
You always have to be thinking ahead. I think that's the key to any great player is can you be one step ahead of your opponent?
Ramey attempts to head it toward the penalty spot, but it comes too close to LaKeysia Beene, and Beene will grab everything that is within range. She really reads the play well.
And Beane's got such great anticipation, and like any great back or any great goalkeeper, anticipation is everything. Can you be one step ahead of that opponent, especially if that forward has some speed advantage on you? Can you definitely get one step ahead of them thinking?
Another fine play by Brown on the far side, and she starts the attack up to Heft. Heft up to midfield. Now Erickson lays it off. Brown trying to chip it up the sideline, but again it goes out of bounds. Well, the national semifinals are coming up for men on Friday at 3:55 Eastern Time live. Connecticut will play either Santa Clara or UAB. We hope you're with us then. Shot right on. Meredith Florance, first test for LaKeysia Beene, but you're going to have to hit a corner if Beene plays as well as she did in the semifinal match against Santa Clara.
As both of these teams start to settle down, one of the things Notre Dame has talked a lot about is they want to get their outside backs involved in this game. The system they play with a 4-3-3 sets up lanes for those outside backs.
Ramey, a little 1-2 into the middle, and again, Beene off her line well before Reagan McDonald could close to the far post.
Being so solid on crosses, she's been solid all tournament, coming off her line, anticipating, and holding on to the ball, not boxing it, but holding onto it solidly, giving her team confidence in the back. This
is exactly the kind of game we anticipated with North Carolina, a huge possession advantage in carrying the play, but Notre Dame is so comfortable playing in this style. It's got such a rock-solid back 4, and the great goaltending from Beene. All it needs is one chance to beat you. That's what it did to Santa Clara. Here's Lorrie Fair with a chance up the left side. Can she chase it down? No. It squirts over the sideline.
I talked about the outside backs of Notre Dame. The way this system is set up, you see Kara Brown on the ball. She needs to get forward. She's their #1 assist leader on the team because she likes to get forward. And it allows for those outside backs to play a very aggressive offensive style because you have a holding central midfielder that stays and keeps you safe in the back for your numbers. And you have the 2 central backs in Kelly Lindsay and Jen Grubb that also stay. So Notre Dame needs to get its backs forwards. They need to create numbers up. Like I talked about before, they don't have the team speed of Carolina, and so they have to create numbers in the attack, and they can do that through those outside backs.
Well, here's a good chance for Notre Dame. A reset at midfield, and Jen Grubb fires it right into the penalty area. Headed out of there. Again, it's Stacker. This is Brzezinski for Notre Dame. The offside trap by North Carolina. Branham way outside. Lorrie Fair, the deft touch there. Dreyer tries to head it forward to her teammate for Notre Dame, but again, Carolina back in numbers on defense. McDonald, a collision on the near side along with Brzezinski, and it goes out of bounds.
The big question for Notre Dame, Ane Makinen, #8. The Finnish star, she is such an important engine on their team, and without her having her mobility with her knee and her brace on, you can see her frustrated already up top. How many minutes can they get out of her? Because she is such a key focus on this team. And Carolina really has to even be with a bad knee, conscious of her playing a forward position.
Meredith Erickson is out, and Nancy Mikasenik is in for the Irish. We'll see if Streiffer can move up to the front line. Mikasenik now in the midfield, just getting a touch right there. Good sliding effort by Beth Shepard to disrupt play again. The pressure by North Carolina, and here comes Fair with a run. Fair off to Kirkpatrick. Brzezinski clears it. That's Makinen. Limited effectiveness. Now she beats Streiffer, who is up front. She's got a long run. All the way in. Streiffer cut off. Gets another chance. Brandon goes over to collect and keeps it inbounds. As long as the ball stays at least on the line, it's inbounds. The whole ball has to cross the whole line for it to be out of bounds.
See Rebecca McDowell, number 6 from North Carolina, keep Jenny Streiffer onside. Jennifer Streiffer just not having the speed of an aggressive attacking forward. Usually Texas
has done so much for the women's game. It really established a level of excellence that other teams had to match. What has it done? Can you put it in perspective?
It's unbelievable, Jack. I mean, the dominance they've had for 21 years. Anson's been at the helm, and every team is constantly coming after them, gunning for them, and they've been able to maintain this level. And they do it with such class, and they continue to promote the sport so well when they're playing at the college, and then, of course, afterwards, both the players and Anson.
They play hard, they play cleanly, and they play very entertaining soccer. In this decade, a .966 winning percentage. An amazing record. They were awesome in the 80s, and with young Mia Hamm leading them to a 6-0 title game blowout win in 1990, another decade of dominance began. It continued even with assistant Bill Palladino coaching in Anson Dorrance's absence. While Dorrance was leading the U.S. women to the 1991 World Cup, Danielle Egan's talent kept the Tar Heels on top. 1992 was a perfect 25-0 season. Hamm made sure of a fantastic finish in a 9-1 championship game rout. Hamm went out, how else, a winner in a 6-0 romp in the 93 title game. She went on to bigger things, and North Carolina went on winning. Tisha Venturini had her year in 1994 and brought North Carolina its 5th title in 5 years in the 90s. After Notre Dame dethroned Carolina, the Irish had a chance for 2 in a row. But the Tar Heels won an overtime epic to take the title from the new arch rival. Robin Confer's Dipsy-Doo did in Connecticut in the 97 final in a 2-0 win. 7 titles in 9 years with 3 college generations of players. Team of the decade, and then some. It is the dynamic of college soccer, the fact that you constantly have turnover in your personnel that makes Carolina's record so incredible. All-time in NCAA tournament games, a 60-3 record. That is playing against the best competition in the country, and with Title IX now being on the books for more than a quarter of a century, it's not as if Carolina is the only program out there. How does Anson Dorrance do it?
It's remarkable, and it's like you could be playing a team on the national team, you'd be playing a team you've already beaten 10-0 5 times, and he'll still have you in the locker room crying. You want to get out there so bad and take him on. He's an unbelievable motivator. He's a wonderful speaker. He's got a great relationship with his players in terms of he wants them to play hard for him. He loves the fact that they love to play hard for him, and he's just a great coach. He's done a fantastic job.
And he's also a guy who wants the game to get better. He would like nothing more than for North Carolina to be severely challenged every single year. You know, it sounds as if that's not true, but in fact, he is a soccer evangelist. He wants great parity in this country.
He definitely does, and he's been the #1 promoter. He's always said it's about selling our sport, and he does a wonderful job of that. His players do a wonderful job of that.
Well, he's also one of the biggest backers of a possibility of a professional women's league starting in 2001. What do you think?
I've got my fingers crossed. I'm an old lady, so I need to get something out of that.
How's that for putting you on the spot? Notre Dame and North Carolina 0-0 at halftime of the national championship game. 45 minutes to come. We'll analyze halftime stats and highlights in just a second. If you're even with #2 North Carolina playing for the national championship in San Jose, we are at halftime, and it is a sunny and relatively warm December afternoon here. Consider that Notre Dame has beaten the Atlantic 10 champion Dayton, the Pac-10 champion Stanford, sorry Julie, the Big 12 champion Nebraska, and the West Coast Conference champion Santa Clara, and now is playing the Atlantic Coast Conference champion North Carolina. Also consider that Santa Clara, which Notre Dame beat in the semis, has lost its last 3 national semifinal games to the eventual national champion by 1 goal, and Notre Dame beat Santa Clara by 1 goal in the semifinals. If the trend continues, the Irish are going to be happy in 45 minutes. They're all even with North Carolina at the half. White green, isn't it? The Irish and Carolina 0-0 after the first 45.
Here we get a look at the dangers of playing the flat back three for North Carolina. Jenny Streiffer getting in behind this flat three, but Carolina having the speed to get all three defenders back and able to smother the ball. Again, we're going to see Raven McDonald having so much success on the right side of midfield. Getting in behind, Brzezinski gets a nice double second touch, and Ramey in a great seam just tries to redirect it. LaKeysia Beene there for the quick reflex save. Again, Notre Dame, Jen Streiffer creating some problems for them, trying to make a little nice slip pass through that back three defense to Lovelace, who has the speed to get behind the defenders, and Branham playing like a second sweeper for Carolina, coming up with her feet, very comfortable with her feet. She'll provide a very important role for them in the backfield.
The InternetSoccer.com halftime stats, Julie. The shots on goal, 3-0 for Carolina, but don't forget that in the semifinals, Notre Dame was outshot 17-3 by Santa Clara. It's not how many chances you get, it's how many you bury.
Definitely, that's the beauty of soccer.
Well, the fans are fired up. 45 minutes to go to determine a national champion, or maybe some overtime after that. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Bob Vila.
And the second half, North Carolina wearing white, attacking right to left against Notre Dame. Alongside Julie Prouty, I'm Jack Edwards. Glad to be with us here at Spartan Stadium on the campus of San Jose State University. The NCAA Women's Soccer Championship, the Women's College Cup.
And we were fortunate enough to get a wonderful visit, and she's actually forced her into putting on a headset in the booth with us. The all-time leading scorer in collegiate soccer history, male or female, current national champion until this game is over, from the University of Florida, women's national team star Danielle Fotopoulos. Danielle, thank you so much for joining us today. How does it feel to be standing in the booth rather than playing on the field?
It's very different. A lot of pressure released. It's fun. It's good to be here and enjoy just watching and
having a hot dog in the stands
and not being cold.
Danielle, as a finisher, as a goal scorer in a tight championship game like this, are your nerves beginning to wear on you, or are you just in the flow of play and not even thinking about it?
Definitely in the flow of play, but it's always wearing on you. I mean, you do feel somewhat pressure. You know, it's a 0-0 game. That goal is the thing that can determine whether you're winning or losing. Just having that on you, though, I think that's one thing. You either, you live on that, or, it tends to kill you. So I think that's the difference in the level of players and the mentality of each individual.
Here comes Susan Bush with a rush right side. It's Ann Ramey. Ramey has Patrick at the penalty spot. Can she get it to her? Patrick goes up, and it's beyond her. Now there's a shot from Jenna Klugel, but it whistles high and wide. North Carolina already beginning to change the point of attack to try to get a little bit of variability into that attack, less predictability for Notre Dame's defense to see.
Oh, look at that.
And here we are. I'm the thorn, and they're the two roses.
Got the gloves on, the leather jacket.
Hanging out.
Well,
they caught us.
You get a Gator and a California girl in the cold weather along with a New Hampshire boy here. This is warm to me.
Danielle, you were in a very similar situation as Notre Dame.
Centering pass intended for Florance, but a little bit too far out in front, and Beene collects.
Coming against a perennial power like North Carolina into the finals last year, the College Cup final. How does it feel knowing you're going against such history? How do you come in and with confidence? And as this game wears on, the belief that you can actually win this.
Yeah, I think that's something that, we just kind of looked at as, we have nothing to lose. It was an advantage to us because the pressure wasn't really on us.
Bush with the move, button, took the challenge, and goes through her legs. Florance had a great point-blank opportunity, almost a carbon copy of the semifinal move. And here's LaKeysia Beene with a tough chance, and she tips it over the bar on a 20-yard volley.
And already we see Jenna Kruger getting 2 early touches in this halftime. And I talked about they need to get her involved on the left side of midfield. Susan Bush doing what she does best, beating defenders on the end line. Just a bad first touch by Meredith Florance, just a technical mix-up. Better first touch, she gets a shot on goal.
Even if she doesn't need that touch, if she just could have one time, I think that could have been in the back of the net for him.
And like all great goal scorers, Danielle, the key to getting in the right position is feeling like the ball's going to be there and knowing that you're ready to shoot. And Danielle, of course, one of the best goal scorers ever. What did you end up with in college history?
118, Julie.
118.
Yes. So, and like you said, I mean, being in the right place at the right time is just, you know, it's 75% of it. And just putting it in is kind of the easy part. But it can be, with that pressure, a bit difficult.
Danielle, you have to have the attitude that you can fail 99 times, and if you succeed once, you're the hero of the day, right?
Exactly, and that's the difference between, I think, you know, an offensive player and defensive player, where a defensive player, you know, they can't make mistakes very much, where offensively, we can miss, like you said, 99 times, and if we just make that one, it changes, you know, it changes the whole day. And you could be playing horrible the entire game, but if you score the winning goal, everybody thinks you're the best player, which isn't always the case.
So let's look at Notre Dame. Who needs to take a chance, and what kind of a chance do they take to try to crack this North Carolina defense? They don't even have a shot on goal yet.
No, I mean, I think that they've had one decent chance where Carolina has had, you know, only 2 or 3. Carolina just pounds on them, though. I mean, they might not get those chances where they're very, you know, like their chance here, that was a nice, good, solid chance, but they are always getting shots off, making Keisha make the saves, and that's the difference. It makes her work, and it tires her out, and mentally pounding on the Irish is hard to handle.
Susan Bush going corner, trying to turn it, and Jen Grubb is in the way again. Jen Grubb, number 6 in green, has been just so rock solid in the back line.
And she's really come up so big this tournament. She's got great international experience. A senior on their back line provides great leadership. And they, you know, Randy, when we talked to him earlier, Waldron, the head coach at Notre Dame, he said he actually had her playing defensive central midfielder earlier in the season and just was getting no consistency at his back line. As soon as he moved Grubb back there, consistency.
Short corner, trying to pull some Irish defenders away from the goal. It goes out of bounds off Streiffer. And Lorrie Fair will set it up again. Now Fair apparently going to crack it. Short post. Bush flicking it on with a back heel. Cleared out of there. It was Lovelace on the clear. Now Ramey just volleys it toward the middle of the box. LaKeysia Beene out there aggressively. How difficult is it for a forward, a goal scorer, when you have such an active goalkeeper as Beene, who comes out and controls that whole 18-yard box?
Yeah, it is difficult. I think, you know, both keepers here are willing to come off their line so aggressive, and that's great, because you, as defenders, you have such confidence in your keeper, and that is so important. It changes the whole entire team. It changes the attitude. It makes the team just come out and know that they can rely on their keeper to use her hands, her feet, everything. And it's intimidating as a forward going against a keeper who has so much confidence, because it gives her team confidence.
Julie, it seems that North Carolina now is trying to attack the sides, really to get Bush wide, maybe to get her to turn a corner. We've seen her on both sides of the field. It seems there's a clear change in strategy. Now the counterpunch attempt, trying to send a long run through, but again, Branham off the line.
I think a lot what Notre Dame is doing is they are just playing that ball through, where Carolina is pulling the offsides trap, and how they need to beat that is somebody just come through and dribble. Just dribble through that line as they're pulling up. I mean, that's the obvious way to beat the offsides trap.
It's very difficult with the 3-back that North Carolina is playing to contain those midfielders of Notre Dame if they come through and create numbers up. They have to be tracked, because you're already playing even, and so they need to start sending some midfielders forward. And there comes a time in the game where the coach and the players need to decide, look, what do we want to play for here? Are we looking for a 0-0 tie, or are we looking to actually get some shots and create some chances on goal? And you have to start taking risks. I haven't seen Kara Brown or Pruzinski, their outside backs, come forward at all yet, and that's what this system calls for that Notre Dame's playing.
Well,
they have to get them forward.
An interesting ball by Streiffer. He elects to play it square and maybe see if someone's going to take a run, but everybody else on the Irish team just standing in the back four, not going anywhere. Okay, now here's Bush with a break on the right side. Into the middle to Patrick. Patrick moves it toward the spot. Taken away on the comeback effort by Pruzinski, the freshman, showing a lot of poise under pressure.
And what Notre Dame is doing such a great job of is they're getting numbers behind the ball defensively. They're staying very organized. Even if that first pressure player gets beaten on the dribble, there's always a second cover player stepping up. And that organization is what you need against a fast front line of North Carolina.
We talked about the offside trap earlier. Monica Gonzalez, number 7 in green, trapped offside there. So it'll be North Carolina's restart. And again, Branham getting involved in the game by coming 45 yards ahead of her goal to play a free kick here.
And that's the beauty with this flat back three, is you have to have a keeper that comes off her line, and especially a keeper that's comfortable with her feet.
Right into the box. Florance going up for it, but again, the back four of the Irish getting it out of there. Jenna Klugel settling now. Lorrie Fair taking it toward the sideline. Working against Mika Sinek. Grubb steps in front to intercept the pass. Dribbles right around McDowell. Klugel knocks it out of bounds. It'll be a throw-in for Notre Dame. You're talking about earlier about how Notre Dame, Randy Waldrom's crew is going to have to start pushing players forward. Of course, it's easy for us to say that up here. You have to take the chance down there on the field. You don't want to be the GOAT who leaves her position and mistakenly doesn't have anybody back there covering, and then North Carolina walks right through that hole.
And it's very frightening against three incredible forwards like North Carolina has, to have the courage as a back to say, okay, you know what, I'm going to go. And they're playing numbers up in the back. They're playing 4 against 3 front runners of North Carolina. So there comes a point, and it obviously is dictated by the game, where you say, I'm going to get forward, I'm going to make this run. And they also have the advantage of they have a holding defensive central midfielder in Maya, who just stands there, who's going to stay central, and that also should give you confidence.
Florence's shot scores! Meredith Florance with the turn, and she fires far corner. Big pile on Florance, and it's 1-0 for the Tar Heels.
Great finish, side netting. Keisha's, stretching to get it, and she just put it inside netting. Inside of the foot, bent around her. It was a nice goal.
One of the traits of Carolina is they always rely on individual brilliance, and they've always had players who can step it up, take on those defenders, and create chances. And here you just see a wonderful first touch by Meredith Florance. She uses great deception and only has a half step on her defender and is able with a quick release to find the side netting. I mean, just wonderful placement, but it all happens with this wonderful first touch that brings it down. And all it takes is a half step. That defender is in, looks like good positioning, and she's blocking LaKeysia Beene's view. Very hard for LaKeysia Beene, Notre Dame's keeper, to get a good view of the ball.
A drive and a save by Branham.
And now Carolina has made that decision for Notre Dame. Now they have to start coming forward. They have to start taking chances.
Lovelace is into the game for Gonzalez as a couple of players go down in midfield. The goal comes in the 56th minute. Florance from Patrick and Bush to give North Carolina a 1-0 lead.
You're so right, Julie. I mean, there's nothing to lose now with the Irish. They do need to come forward, take the risk, go at players. I think that's the difference here, taking them and going at them.
Branham 30 yards out of goal, blasting it all the way.
Again, you can see what an important role Branham plays on this team off her line. She's 40 yards out, and she's cleaning up balls for their back line.
That relieves so much pressure for the defense. I mean, just knowing you have that to rely on, not having to chase the ball down, having the confidence that your keeper is going to come out and clear it, and clear it well at that. I mean, she puts it almost into the 18-yard box every time she's 40 yards out.
Grubb moving it toward the middle of her own goal area. And now clearing. Jenna Klugel collects for North Carolina. One-time pass for Shepherd. It pops over her. Grubb trying to clear it, but here's a break right side. Florance looking for 2. The deflection and the save by Beene.
And you can see the confidence in Carolina building. They're starting to get players around the ball, great supporting angles. They're starting to face up and take on. That's really been such a trait of North Carolina over the years, and with Florance putting that goal away, that's exactly what we've seen for so many years. Individual brilliance, beating players, and scoring on their own.
Jenna Klugel taking her time for Florance. Slide tackle to Carol Brown, and it comes out of bounds over the Notre Dame throw. Got a substitution. Jenny Heft coming into the game, and Nancy McAsinick coming out. Well, what's coming up tonight at 8:15 Eastern Time on ESPN? It's a game that the Cowboys need to win. It's a game the Patriots must win. Comes your way right after NFL primetime at 8:15 Eastern Time on ESPN tonight. And that's going to be a dandy.
Jack, we would be remiss if we did not ask Ms. Vitopoulos what happened to the Gators this year. National champions.
Patrick with a break right side. Here's Ramey with a chance. Ramey goes over the top.
And they're starting to pull the Notre Dame back line apart. They're starting to find seams. You saw there Ramey wide open on the outside. Obviously a mismatch somewhere, and she's wide open. Does a good job trying to find the corner. LaKeysia Beene needs to go over and kiss her post again. Second time in 2 games where she's had the post help her out.
Raven McDonald, number 18, has checked in for North Carolina, and Beth Shepard is out. McDonald not able to run onto it, and there's Carol Brown controlling for Notre Dame. Outside of the foot pass up ahead for Lovelace, who had the goal in the semifinal for the Irish. Long ball. Branham, she is the boss.
Notre Dame has had their forwards trying to get the ball up top, and there's really no numbers in support. Their midfield is non-existent behind them, and they're trying to play against 3 very fast backline defenders of North Carolina and with no help. And one of the things we talked about early in the game, Jack, is getting numbers forward. They have a speed mismatch, so they need their midfield to come in and provide numbers on attack.
Jenny Heft lays it off for Streiffer. Hard tackle on the far side. McDowell. Now Boardman gets pulled down by Streiffer. A couple of really talented players in a tangle there. The emotions running high. And Streiffer gets the caution, the yellow card.
And you can see Streiffer's trying to pick up her team here. She's playing with a lot of emotion, and this is what you want to see out of your leaders, your captains. A 5th-year senior, she doesn't want to lose this in her last game. And she's trying to set an example. Let's fight. We got a lot of time left. Let's bring it back.
Fair into the penalty area. Florence's header comes into LaKeysia Beene on a hop. About 1/3 of the way through the second half, Meredith Florance has broken the ice to get North Carolina on top, and Notre Dame has to start taking a few risks, sending players forward. But Carolina has such a possession advantage. Here's Bush. She's got a great burst of speed. Moves around the right side. Her shot to the far side just goes wide. What a great shift by Susan Bush.
So much talent in Susan Bush. She's so explosive when she was training with the national team this year. Still in high school, and she's got so much talent, raw talent. Here you can see just taking on players and then having the composure to see Keisha Beene off her line trying to find the back corner of the net.
Yeah, I think that's the difference between the Irish offense and the, Carolina's offense. Players just taking on. Susan going in there, making a difference, taking on players where the Irish are tending to try and pass it off, passing off the responsibility. That's the difference, is just taking on, doing what it takes. Here we go again, passing.
Lovelace
needs to go in.
Good move by Lovelace up ahead for Heft. Heft runs into Boardman, and Boardman, for a forward, does a great job as a defender. She would love to move forward into the attack, but she's really taking care of her responsibilities.
Wouldn't they all? Both Fair and Boardman, as Will said.
And there is Lorrie Fair, who shift to the back, stabilized North Carolina. It's not as if North Carolina has a lot of crises, but they did lose 2 games this year, which is really the first time in almost a generation that's happened.
And they were, at one point in the season, 6-2, which is unheard of for a Carolina team. They ended up winning their next 17 games to get them here in the final.
Well, Fair has literally played everywhere in her career. She's played the front line, she's played midfield, and she's played right there in the back line.
With Mackinnon out with the injury, with a knee injury, she provided the engine for them in midfield. They're playing right now with 2 freshmen and a sophomore in the center of their midfield, unable to get a hold of the ball.
Stacker with another one of those one-time passes directly forward, always trying to press the attack. Here's a long ball for Lovelace. Lovelace bumping, getting it free. Through ball attempt, but just too many numbers back for Carolina defensively. Heft lays it off for Streiffer. Streiffer taken away. Here comes Stacker. Stacker's got Ramey far side. Elects to come near side for Patrick. Brown intercepts. Chucks it upfield, and it'll go out of bounds.
And Carolina doing a great job when the ball is cleared out of their backfield, getting their back line up. You can see them saying, step, step, step. Get them offsides, because Notre Dame's offense, there's 3 front runners in that situation. We're all left offside because they're getting up and they're getting their back line forward together, which is most important.
Lorrie Fair looking for help on the throw-in, goes straight up the sideline. When in doubt, go right up the sideline. Something good will happen. Worst case scenario, your opponent knocks it out of bounds, you move 15 yards forward, you get another throw-in. This time North turns it into a break. Grubb going back with pressure from Bush, gives it away to Patrick. Patrick to Bush. He's pretty calm in a tight spot, tries to turn it, but Grubb anticipated that and deflects the pass. Borgman way up, tosses it into the right wing corner, but it's intercepted. The ball comes off of Ramey and out of bounds. It'll be a Notre Dame throw-in on the far side.
And Jeff, we saw this in Carolina's last game against Penn State. They go up 1-0, and they still play even in the back. They're going to stay with the 3 back. They're not going to try and drop into a defensive position or a defensive mode. That's Anson Dorrance's style. Up 4 goals, up 5 goals, it doesn't matter. He's going to attack.
Brown against Bush down in the corner, and it goes out of bounds. If you're joining us at the bottom of the hour, welcome to the Women's College Cup, the national championship game of college soccer. Notre Dame against North Carolina, along with Julie Foudy, and joined in the booth by our guest, Danielle Fotopoulos. I'm Jack Edwards. The Fighting Irish wearing the lucky green. They've never lost wearing these uniforms, but right now they're behind on the goal by Meredith Florance in the 56th minute, and North Carolina with a huge possession advantage. This is the kind of counterattack Notre Dame needs, though. Jenny Heft, Stacker coming in to give pressure to Graham, makes the save. Heft, all she needs to do is turn that corner and she'll get the shot.
And Notre Dame, even when they're getting it behind North Carolina having the speed to catch them and provide pressure from behind them. And I'm not a forward, Danielle, but I can imagine as a forward, the worst thing is just feeling that defender breathing down your back. Do you take another touch? Do you take the shot? One of the decisions going through your mind.
Exactly, especially, you know, Lindsay Stackhouse back there. She is just so strong, powerful. I know, you know, when you are taking her on, and even if she is behind you, which most of the time she's not, you're having to beat her in order for her to get behind you, but you know that she's there. She is a powerful force. She's a good defender, and you know that there's 2 other ones right there breathing down your neck. So it's a lot of pressure, and
there's pressure from Reagan McDonald on Carol Brown, and it comes out of the Irish backliner, so it'll be a throw-in from North Carolina. Another substitution for North Carolina. It's Ball coming back into the game. She started the game. Elizabeth Ball is in for Susan Bush. Here's Heft. Heft has Lovelace to the middle. Fires it behind her. Streiffer, a great finisher. Moves to the right side. Too much traffic going 1-on-3.
And Carolina just got in there. As soon as Streiffer, her first touch, there was about 4 or 5 players right around her, and they are determined to win this game. And I think that's the difference. Here it's just attitude. It's a 1-0 game.
Lindsay, long pass, intercepted. This is Borgman. That's Ramey. Ramey running away from Streiffer. Streiffer giving tremendous effort in midfield, really trying to create something for the Irish, who are just down by 1. Now a break on the wing, centering pass, but Lorrie Fair is there, calmly one-timing it free to the side. Here comes Elizabeth Ball, the senior. She's got Patrick Middle, gives it to her. Florance on a diagonal run. Grubb comes over to clean out the middle.
And Notre Dame needs to continue to take these risks, sending these players forward. You see Streiffer all over the field for them, picking up loose balls, winning the second ball. But they need to get numbers going forward. I looked at that last attack, 4 Carolina whites to 2 Notre Dame greens in the box, and you just cannot win games down 1-0 when you only have 2 players attacking. And if you get those midfielders forward, and you can send those outside backs forward and take that risk.
And Danielle, when you're in a situation where you're down a goal and you're looking for something, Do you have to have the mentality of not looking for the perfect shot, and if you have any kind of opening, just crack it and see what happens?
Yeah, I definitely think so. You know, the Irish, like Julie just mentioned, you know, they're not getting forward. Their mentality is not to get in the box, and that's what they need. No matter what, you have to be in the box, prepared to finish the goal, to finish the shot, to make that goal. And I don't think that their mentality is there right now.
Great run by Raven McDonald all the way up the left side, but she can't connect on the pass. It comes out of bounds. McDonald with an outstanding rush. Again, North Carolina pressing the attack.
I'm trying to think, though, if I was Irish, there is 22 minutes left. I mean, do you take the risk already of pushing so many people forward? Because if it becomes a 2-0 game, you know, that's a big difference from a 1-0 game.
Streiffer with a hard slide tackle. It's into midfield. Streiffer is there, distributing it left side. Jones on the through ball. Lovelace couldn't quite handle it, and Stacker again. Not many touches, but she just drills that ball out of there and usually gets it pretty close to a target.
And you can see that Raven McDonald, the outside midfielder, bouncing all the way back, creating a fourth defender for Carolina, playing a little bit more conservative, but still staying with the three back and playing even in the back.
We've got a timeout on the field. Anson Dorrance's team looking for its 15th championship in 18 years for North Carolina.
Eurosport, the world's largest selection of
minutes to go in regulation time. Julie, how did it get this way?
Kim Patrick keeping the ball alive with a header. Meredith Florance, wonderful first touch, just gets a half step on her defender and showing such composure to bend it with the inside of her right foot and knock it in the side netting. I mean, what a beautiful example for kids to see. You don't have to power this shot home. She has a tiny window of opportunity, able to get the quick release shot off and bend it with the inside of her right foot into the side netting. A beautiful goal.
And I don't think Keisha had any chance of saving that. Not only that, because her defenders were blocking the ball, and that's hard for a keeper. And again, like you said, taking that shot is all it took to have the winning goal. Maybe.
Danielle Fotopoulos joining us in the booth. And Danielle, again, from the finisher's perspective, you don't need to see that whole goal, and maybe there's a little lesson in that for Notre Dame fans right now, that Notre Dame doesn't need to get the perfect shot, just get something on goal.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Having the shot is all that it takes. And again, Notre Dame needs to just take on. I think that's the difference here. You know, a couple of the UNC players are getting the ball at their feet and they're taking on their defenders. And a lot of times the Irish, they're getting it down and they might take on one or two, but they're not really pushing to get in the box, either get the shot off, no matter where they're at in the box, or to get the pass off for the shot.
Lindsey Jones collects on the far sideline for Notre Dame. Shot blocked, comes back. Ball with a chance against Lindsey. Kelly Lindsey back heels it. Here's Ramey collecting. Ramey right across the box. Raven McDonald, who had that great run up the left side a little bit earlier. She's taking on Tara Brown here. Moves to the inside. Jenna Klugel at the top of the penalty arc. Klugel with a quick move. Nothing doing. Lorrie Fair collects out near midfield. The game being played in Notre Dame's end, as it has been throughout. But still, the Fighting Irish only down by 1 with about 20 minutes to go. Lorrie Fair on the throw-in near side. Taking her time. Every second that ticks off the clock is working for Carolina. Patrick with a nice outside of the foot pass to the top of the box. Now Klugel working right side for Ramey. Ramey goes right around Jones. Ramey turns the corner. Can she bring it back? She does in front. Patrick works on the header. Here's McDonald's block. Taken right off the chest by Brown.
Ramey doing so well to keep that ball alive. And what a dangerous ball coming across the 6-yard box in the air. All it needs is a slight redirection with the head, and it's in the back of the net.
McDowell distributing it left side. Florance trying for the pass for McDonald, but McDonald hadn't been making the run. It's cleared out of bounds. Danielle Fotopoulos, thank you so much for joining us in the booth. We've enjoyed your insights. We've certainly enjoyed your play over the years, and we look forward to more of it with the national team.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here.
Thanks,
had a good time. See ya.
The all-time leading scorer in college soccer history, Danielle Fotopoulos. leading Florida to a 1-0 victory over this North Carolina team last year. Beth Shepard is back into the game for North Carolina. Number 17 in white, Shepard. Now here's Raven McDonald. Patrick tries the outside of the foot shot. Difficult attempt. Ball's moving away from the outside of the foot. It's going to be an all or nothing shot. If she'd hit it, that would have had a banana hook on it. Would have been a really tough chance.
One of the good things about Notre Dame is they have 5 seniors on the field right now. And so in these last 18 minutes, those seniors need to step up and start talking. Look, we got plenty of time. We are not out of this. And with that experience that they bring, they've been in a lot of big game situations like that. That provides a lot of confidence. And you're going to hear them chattering. Let's keep going. We got a lot of time.
Ball, the senior, settling it. A little pass up ahead for Florance. Didn't connect. Back come the Irish. It's Grubb pushing it forward. Stacker blasts it down the sideline. Kara Brown back to collect. Florance has a lot of room. Meredith Florance, the goal scorer today. Trying to make her move toward the middle. Moves past Patrick. Pass deflects. Grubb heading it away. Rebecca McDowell settles it for Shepard. She distributes it right side for Borland. One-touch pass. Little 1-2 work. And Ramey with a chance down the right side. Runs into Lindsay. Patrick coming over to try to help. Jones clears it out, but she gives it right away to Rebecca McDowell. Top of the box, it's ball. The backheel to Patrick, one-timer blocked. Raven McDonald, relentless pressure here by North Carolina. McDonald, the move in the box, tackled down, no call. Brown dribbles it out of bounds.
North Carolina doing a very good job of holding on to the ball. You're up a goal, keep the ball, make the other team chase. Notre Dame's starting to tire. They have a lot of little nagging injuries, knee problems, and they're going to make them chase. If you want this ball, you got to come after it. Tire them out.
There's Meredith Florance. You saw Susan Bush checking back into the game, and Elizabeth Ball comes out. Here's Patrick with a turn. She's got a chance. For Shepard, right to Bush. She turns and fires and goes over the top. That is a finisher.
What a great little slip pass by Beth Shepard. The vision to see Susan Bush in that little seam. She finds her with a one-touch pass. Susan Bush has the composure with the first touch and just gets under the ball, leans back a little bit too much and sends it over the crossbar. But great positioning by Susan Bush to be patient, wait in that seam, and Beth Shepard having the ability to find her in there with a slip pass.
An attempt for a through pass to Heft. It doesn't work. Well, I'll tell you, if there's any way that Bush can get her knee over that ball, that is in the back of the net. Tough hit right next to the wall here, and a Notre Dame player is down. The 1999 Women's World Cup Highlights Show is coming up at 5 p.m. Eastern Time today on ESPN, right at the conclusion of this game. You can see Julie Foudy and her teammates on that magical run to the World Cup Championship in front of a packed house at the Rose Bowl in the final. And here, the two-game attendance figure is 28,423, an all-time record for the Women's College Cup. The popularity of this sport just growing exponentially across the country.
And the wonderful thing to see here is that Santa Clara, obviously the home team, knocked out in the first round. A lot of questions, what's going to happen with the finals? The attendance going to drop? I mean, the attendance is so strong today, even without Santa Clara in this final.
Ball deflects out of bounds, up the tackle, and it's going to be a corner kick for North Carolina. Going to get a couple of substitutions. Jenna Klugel is coming in as soon as the referee will acknowledge the substitution. You have to be beckoned onto the field by the referee. Krasinski also in for Notre Dame, and Jenna Klugel, number 9, checks in for North Carolina. Here's the corner as the Tar Heels look for some insurance in the final 15 minutes. Right into the middle. Ramey's header volleyed out of there. McDonald taking her time, looking for a counter, chips it up the wing a little bit too far out in front of Bush, and it goes out of bounds. It's got to be so frustrating to play against the likes of McDonald and this Carolina team because they possess the ball and they're so calm with it. They distribute, they work hard for each other, creating openings for those short passes that beat up the clock.
And the most frustrating thing is how hard they work on defense. I mean, it just is such a swarming type of defense, and you have to really think ahead of the ball.
Here's Bush. She has that great burst of speed. She splits the defense, gets cut off by Brown, and LaKeysia comes out to smother it. Beene on another save.
A great positioning by Kara Brown. Doesn't have the speed of a Susan Bush, and so what she does here is she uses her body to get in between herself and the ball and slow Susan Bush's run down. And with a slower defender like that, that's a great thing for kids to see, because you don't always have to have the speed to be a great defender.
Lindsay turns and clears it over the sideline, and once again, it'll be a North Carolina throw-in. Well, this North Carolina team, you can make the argument, and I would, that it is the greatest sports dynasty in any sport, men or women, in North American sports history. What this Carolina program has done for so many years, with so many different generations of players. Even one year in which Anson Dorrance, the head coach, wasn't even with the team, they still win. They go up against such great talent, and every year there's more and more parity. But you're looking at it,
17 out of 18.
To play in the championship game, and they have won 14, going for their 15th today. But not if Notre Dame can help it, and there's about 13 minutes to go. Jenny Heff, the goal scorer, down on the far side, and Danielle Boardman just picking it clean and sending it the other way. Here's Bush. She fires it inbounds, and that'll stay up. Now it finally rolls out after a bit of a collision. North Carolina has been dominant in the final 45 minutes of the season, outscoring its opponents 52-2.
It's a good thing Notre Dame doesn't see that stat right now.
But again, the Irish are just thinking one through ball, one break, and now the Irish are beginning to push numbers forward to try to get a midfielder forward. It's time to take those chances. Might as well lose 2-0 in a national championship game. You didn't come here to finish second.
Exactly, and it's about mentality. It really is. In these last 12 minutes, everyone's tired, everyone's banged up, and it's like, do I make that run? How can I get there? And staying mentally focused is so important. I mean, because when you start to tire physically, mentally you go, and you start having little lapses in transition and quickness. And so it really is just a gut check here. Who can pull it out in the last 10 minutes and make a difference in the game?
Well, here's good work by Notre Dame, changing the point of attack, moving it across midfield. Brown going directly up the right sideline, looking for Lovelace. And Klugel getting it the other way. Baker in the game for Notre Dame, sending it forward. Lorrie Fair fakes the pass back, turns it up. It goes past McDonald. Brown is there, heads it down. Touch pass toward the sideline, beyond Lovelace and out of bounds. Lorrie Fair has the throw in. Klugel settles off the chest trap. Lobs it toward the middle. Bush is on, a little touch for Patrick. Patrick has McDonald if she sees her. Now Bush does. McDonald on a long run left side. Makes the last move. Cuts it back to the middle. Scores! Beth Shepard finishes it. 2-0 Carolina.
So much potential on the outside midfield position for Carolina. Left wide open, Raven McDonald. Kara Brown gets caught forward for the Irish. Their outside back that usually is there gets caught forward making a run. That's the risk versus reward. Raven McDonald able to take a wonderful first touch to beat the defender, and then just a great ball across the goal mouth, finding the seam in such a small window. LaKeysia Beene off her line, and still she's able to get it in there. Just unselfish, finds the seam, nice finish. Beth Shepard, great second late run out of midfield. So hard to track as a defender.
Well, now you got to start putting it in perspective for North Carolina, as it appears the Tar Heels are going to win the national title again. The run was interrupted last year by Danielle Fitopoulos in the University of Florida. But this North Carolina team always seems to be able to rise to another level.
And Raven McDonald has been getting in all day on that outside midfield position. And one of the times that the Irish attempt to go forward. They try and get Kara Brown forward, which they have to do when they're down 1-0 like that. That's the risk you take, and she catches them up. And I mean, give a lot of credit to Kara Brown for playing so hard these last 2 games, and just unfortunate to get caught up in that situation.
This would be North Carolina's 8th title in the 1990s. It would be North Carolina's 15th NCAA championship in the 18 years of the tournament. Remember, North Carolina's given up only 2 second-half goals all season, and there's less than 10 minutes to play here. Jenna Klugel for McDonald, who made that great run. She's taken down from behind. Play on, says the referee. It's North Carolina's advantage. Don't stop play. Stacker with the trademark long ball to the wing, a little too far for Ramey. Bergman going over, taking a ferocious hit, and she actually drew the foul as she jumped in first.
And still time with 9 minutes left for Notre Dame. They still need to keep the mentality that we can stay in this game. We get a quick one right away. We're back in it. It's 2-1. The whole game changes.
Allie the move on Lorrie Fair, but Fair fights back for position. McDonald coming back to help and create an outlet pass. Fair a little 1-2 work with Klugel to get it up to Bush. She skies it to the center circle. Baker going in after it, and now it'll be Brown back to collect. Backfield move to get it away from Bush. Sends it toward the middle. This is Baker settling for Lindsay. Stacker heads it straight ahead. McDowell challenging. Shepard distributes.
And you can see McDowell in there, number 6 for North Carolina, winning balls, winning headers. She's playing their defensive holding central midfield position, and that's what she brings to this team. She's a very scrappy player. Mia has said over and over again, she paints the field with her heart. Mia, of course, one of the assistant coaches at North Carolina, and she needs to give them encouragement in these last 2 minutes. Let's stay focused here. Let's not let Notre Dame back in this game.
Here's Jen Grubb, who has had a fine game, and she's going to take it into her own hands here. Long ball. She's got an opening, far side. The turn, but guess who's back? It's Stacker. There's Grubb again, working against McDowell. Lindsay, Notre Dame really pushing it forward now, knowing that it's now or never. They got to get one. Give themselves a chance to tie it up.
A wonderful ball by Jen Grubb, switching the whole entire field. And that Lindsay, Stacker, Anson Dorrance, he said over and over again, his most consistent player all year. And you can see there, right there, why that is so. And not the fastest defender they have in the back, but always just anticipating and reading the ball so well.
I think they're going to rule a dangerous play here, a high leg attempting for the kick, and it'll be a reset for Notre Dame. Now, if Notre Dame's got a set play, you're going to see it right here, because this is as good an opportunity as you're going to get. Ball out on the wing about 35 yards from goal. Grubb going for the corner of the 6. Had a couple of players at the penalty spot, and they kind of ran into each other. Tough luck for the Irish, because Streiffer was right there for the turn.
And that's a great ball by Jen Grubb, bending away from the keeper, so Branham has to stay safe on her line. And just 2 players kind of caught up in the middle there. Streiffer a little bit indecisive, just gets a nick on it with her head.
Ball rolls over the far sideline, and it's going to go out of bounds. The Men's College Cup comes your way 3:55 Eastern Time, live on ESPN2 next Friday. Connecticut against Santa Clara, which has the lead with 8 minutes to go if it hangs on, or UAB if it comes back. UCLA against Indiana in the other one. That'll be in prime time on the West Coast on tape delay next Friday from Charlotte, North Carolina. Speaking of North Carolina, Tar Heels on the attack here with about 6 minutes to go in the championship game, the Women's College Cup. That's Meredith Florance, who's checked into the game for North Carolina, going up the wing.
And I think this is where, as a North Carolina team, you understand there's 5 minutes left here. We need to burn this time off. Hold the ball. Play it into the corners and hold it. Don't give a chance for LaKeysia Beene to clear it or their back line to clear it. See if we can burn some time.
Stacker on it. Number 25 in green, Iris Lancaster, is checked into the game. Classy move by Randy Waldron, getting the senior into the national championship. Maybe a little bit of a spark somewhere. Here comes Streiffer. She goes over Stacker. Streiffer with a chance. Ahead. It's Heft. She misses it wide. Great job by Branham to come out and challenge the shooter immediately. And Heft, trying to pick the perfect corner, couldn't quite thread that needle.
So important for Branham to come off her line here. What a wonderful ball by Jenny Streiffer. Heft making a first nice touch, but Branham coming off her line, shutting down her angle, and really giving her such a little window of the goal to finish in. Great job by Jennifer Branham for University of North Carolina.
Branham with another authoritative 65-yard blast, headed on by Florance. Here comes Raven McDonald, who has made life miserable for Notre Dame as she has gone up and down that left side all game long.
And Jenny Heft is going to want that ball back. She puts that away. It changes the whole landscape. There's renewed enthusiasm. There's the mentality that we can get this done. It'll be interesting to see in these last 4 minutes what that miss does to this Notre Dame team.
LaKeysia Beene barking out commands, controlling that 6-yard box. North Carolina looking for a finalizer here. Lorrie Fair, what a tremendous career she's had all the way across. But again, Carolina forcing the attack, not quite able to finish here. Boardman falls down. Here's a counterattack chance. Heft on the go against Stacker. Heft has Streiffer in the middle. A little bit late, couldn't get it to her in time, and the Carolina Tar Heels are back in big numbers again. Dreyer, great tackle. Rebecca McDowell sends her down. Beth Shepard flicks it out to the right side, and Ramey there. Back to Shepard, who has a goal. Onto the right side for Patrick. Patrick has McDonald in the middle. Chips it beyond McDonald. Grubb trying to turn it back. 3.5 minutes to go in this one. North Carolina up 2-0 on Notre Dame for the national championship. To Shepard.
So wonderful to see Beth Shepard get that goal, the second goal for North Carolina. A fifth-year senior for North Carolina. One of their captains has had a terrible time with injuries in her career, and here she comes in a fifth year, able to put in the finishing goal, perhaps, for Carolina, and really bring it home for her team.
Less than 3 minutes to go for North Carolina. Brzezinski heads it up. Dreyer, Heft, trying to spring Lovelace. Gets a piece of it, but Boardman has too much speed. There's Lovelace. Branham belts it up into the center circle. Here comes Shepard, who has that goal. McDonald ahead on the left side, and here it comes to her. McDonald working on Lindsay, now looking for possession, turning outside. Lindsay takes it away. We get a whistle and a throw in for Notre Dame.
And what McDonald's trying to do, obviously, in the corner is burn some time off that clock. I'm not going to send it across to LaKeysia Beene. She's thinking, I'm going to sit here and almost sit on it in the corner.
Micasinik, a long ball intended for Heft, but the offside trap works once again. With the score 2-0 North Carolina. Let's take a look at the Adidas play of the match, Julie.
Here, a great ball by Susan Bush, getting Raven McDonald in, and what a wonderful first touch to beat that defender and have the composure to find the seam in the middle with Beth Shepard making a late run, and all it takes is a redirection into goal.
Not sure what the cause for the delay is here on the sideline. The stadium clock is stopped with 1:42 to go in the game. We got some substitutions here. Mitchell is back into the game for North Carolina. Charlotte Mitchell, the senior who started, apparently will finish as well. Ramey on the far side, unable to get around Micasinik. Lorrie Fair heads it the other way, 1.5 minutes to go. Notre Dame has had some sporting miracles in an illustrious school history, but this would be the all-timer. They've gone from 2 down against North Carolina with this little time remaining. What a great year it's been for the Irish. They really have overachieved in the eyes of many. They won't be happy about this result. but to get to this championship game has been an awesome accomplishment.
Especially for first-year coach Randy Waldrum, coming in, playing a whole new system with this team, and getting to the final. A lot of pressure on him and the team this year, and they get to this final game.
We're in the final minute of play. Notre Dame about to go down wearing the lucky greens for the first time in its history against the North Carolina team, which is trying to bring the championship back to Chapel Hill. A half a minute to go. Florance trying to push the attack, but can't. NCAA championships in 1982, 83, 84, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 96, and 97. Never lower than third place. 15 championships in 18 years. They add the 1999 crown to one that has many jewels. The dynasty has another ring. Hard-fought game for the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. Had nothing to be ashamed of. Really an outstanding season for them, finishing up 21 wins, 4 losses, and a tie. North Carolina just had too much. Give me the ball. LaKeysia Beene holds her head up, as well she should. North Carolina celebrates another victory. Lorrie Fair goes out a champion. We'll be back to wrap it up in San Jose.
When you watch AT&T Cable, what do you see? Something hilarious? Something amazing? Something exciting? We see the future. Digital cable, with more of the things you're looking for. Designed to bring you what you want, when you want it. And this is just the start. We see a world of possibilities, and soon you'll see it too. From AT&T Cable Services. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Gary O'Reilly. Welcome to Desks, Dinettes, and Curios by O'Reilly's.
Choose from over 35 dinette designs, in stock or custom order, featuring the largest selection of curios in Chicagoland. We specialize in home computer desks and roll-in flat-top styles. You won't find better quality, selection, or value in our sofa sleeper department. And as Harold says,
if we don't have it, you don't need it.
Desks, dinettes, curios, and sleepers by O'Reilly's, Green Tree Plaza, Libertyville.
A season built on hope, dreams, and pride. This is the 1999 college football season. These are the men that made it happen. The Home Depot 1999 College Football Awards, Thursday at 5 on ESPN.
There are dynasties, and then there are dynasties, but all should be measured against the North Carolina women's soccer team. A 2-0 victory over Notre Dame, and another notch in Anson Dorrance's amazing championship belt. The Chevrolet players of the game. Number 6 in green, Jen Grubb of Notre Dame, played an amazingly consistent match today from the back line. And for North Carolina, you can pretty much give it to the whole team. Raven McDonald making great runs up the left side today, and a terrific assist to set up a goal. Julie, North Carolina does it again. What can you say?
It's unbelievable, really. The mentality they have on this team, that is everything for them, and you can see it in a game like this. They're fighting for every ball. They just refuse to lose, and I love for kids to watch that mentality, because it doesn't matter at the end of the day. It's how you walk off the field. Did you give 100%? And they give 100%, not just in a final game, but every game all year. A big credit to Anson Dorrance and his coaching staff for continuing the dynasty.
Well, Julie, the pleasure has been all mine to work with you, and best of luck with the national team. Once again, the final score, North Carolina 2 and Notre Dame 0. Coming up next, the Women's World Cup Highlight Show. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, go.com. 15 championships in 18 years. Carolina wins another one. We'll see you next week for the Men's College Cup.